Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Okay, in this lesson, okay, simply because I did make a little error, okay, use the wrong template, um, we're going to learn how to modify the structure of a floor. Okay, the floor we have is fairly complicated, it's more than we need. Um, so the goal is just going to be to have a single layer of concrete, which is going to be a more accurate representation of the material, and it allows for better analysis and use within the model. Um, After this lesson, I will reset this model. Okay, it will look exactly the same, but I'm going to use the correct template just so that we can focus more on standardized materials and systems, um, especially in relationship to Australian building uh, standards. As per usual, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel so I can keep helping others. Okay, so if we jump into, say, the 3D model here, okay, this is the floor that we built in the previous, or has been previously constructed, and we see here that it is floor, ground, suspended. There's a screed, there's insulation, there's block, and there's precast. That's what all of that means. Okay, and that's a complicated slab or floor. We don't need that. Okay, we just want a single layer, 100 millimeters thick of poured in situ concrete. Okay, so but there is a way to modify this. Okay, so what we're going to do, and this applies to pretty much any sort of modeled system in Revit, okay, but we're just going to focus on the floors for now. Okay, so if I want to change this, okay, I could have a look at the drop down menu, see if there's anything in there that matches what I want. Nothing there. Okay, Oop, select that again. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here, select the floor, edit type. Okay, so we're actually going to change things here. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to duplicate it. Okay, so we're going to make a second floor. So duplicate. And in here, I'm going to say 100 millimeter concrete slab. Okay, it's important generally with the naming conventions within Revit is to provide some sort of trigger, like description of depth or something to that, plus the material. Okay. Okay, so 100 millimeter slab. If we look at the default thickness of this here at the moment, it says 470. Okay, and I can't modify that. Okay, and the reason for this is that the thickness here is set by the structure. Okay, so what we need to do is go into structure and we need to edit and modify this part. Okay, so I'm going to click in here. Okay, now this is like, I suppose, the assembly window. Okay, so this is where we edit it. Okay, so this is how these floors are assembled. Okay, and what we have are rows, and you can have as pretty much as many of these as you like, um, and then some columns. So you have the function of the material, what the material is, its thickness, and there's some other ones in here which we generally will not worry about at this stage. Okay. Now, the key thing to understand when it comes to floors and walls and roofs and things like that is that there's always a core boundary. There are always two rows with a core boundary. Okay, so something has to be built here. Okay, that is the key thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of rows 1 to 5 at this stage, okay, and the core boundary then will jump up to number 1. So to do that, okay, select the first row. These are your options here, and you can see here there is a delete. So I'm going to go delete, and it just gets rid of it. The next row is now highlighted. I delete, and I'm just going to do this until I just have a core boundary, which is not a layer per se because it has 0 thickness, okay. And now I just have at the moment 2 structural rows between the boundary, okay. Now I only want 1, okay, so I'm going to delete this one here, so I'm going to highlight that structure there, okay. Now we will go into this in a lot more depth later on, but we're going to keep this as a structure. The thickness is 100 millimeters, so that's perfect for me, okay. And the material here, if I drag this across here, it says concrete masonry floor block, okay. So it's we're not using masonry or blocks. So if I can, but I can change this. So if I click into this material here, I get this tiny little button, okay, a little radio button there. So if I click on this, it's going to take me to the material browser, okay. So this is, within every project we have this browser, and these are all the materials that are currently sitting in the project. And we have in here a material called concrete cast in situ, or cast in place. That's good. Okay, I want that one there. So I'm going to select that. Okay, I'm not going to change anything else at this stage. Okay, and I'm just going to go OK. So I have in the assembly 1 row of materials, which is, it's a structure. It is concrete cast in situ because it would be cast in place or on site, and it has a thickness of 100 millimeters. Okay, there's a couple of other buttons there. It says the structural material. We'll keep that there for the time being and go OK. Right. So 100 millimeter concrete floor slab. So now we're back in the properties. Okay, so the type which we created, 100 millimeter concrete slab. The default thickness is now 100 millimeters because Revit calculates it from adds all the thicknesses up here and then brings it in here. Right. I'm not going to change anything else in this material. Okay. Now when I go apply or OK, we're going to see the thickness of this slab go from the previous 400 and something millimeters down to the 100 millimeters that we've nominated. Okay, so I'm just going to go OK, and there it is. Okay, so remember that was a lot thicker, that slab. Now it is 100 millimeters thick, and we now get a far more accurate representation of what we would be trying to achieve. Okay, now this is not the final solution, this is just a step in the process to help us understand what is going on when we start using the right materials. Okay, so there we have it. Okay, we're going to leave it there. Next video we'll tackle something different and then we'll go from there. But until then, we will see you later.